All right, so we went to Malibu and we talked to our friend Glenn, and we saw how the private sector was doing their job cleaning up Malibu. Now it's time to talk to the Army Corps of Engineers. So remember, the Army Corps of Engineers are going to clean up, I think, about 75% of the lots, and the other 25% will be done by the private sector. So I'm very curious to see what the Army Corps of Engineers is doing it, how they're going about it, and are they going to be as efficient and motivated as the private sector was? Well, I'll keep my fingers crossed.
So I command a district, about 500 employees, mostly civilians, and so the Corps of Engineers have been around for 250 years. It's unique in really any westernized army, whereby the majority of my career by far has been on the operational end of the Army, the business end of the Army. You get an opportunity to come over as a uniform officer to command essentially a largely civilian organization, and that's what the Corps is. So the Corps has about 38,000 employees spread across the continental United States and then globally as well, doing large-scale infrastructure projects for the nation, typically involving water, navigation, flood risk mitigation, coastal defenses.
So like New Orleans, Katrina,
very good,
seawall stuff.
Yeah, levees, where I'm at, up in Memphis, so I do a lot of levee work. So what happens is in a natural disaster, we have a lot of expertise on the engineering side, civilian, hydrological, geologists, whatever you need, you can kind of pluck from throughout the nation to take that expertise to the location to perform.
Right. So the Army Corps of Engineers is not a group of engineers that are in the Army.
That's
per
correct.
Se.
Yeah, they're, most of them are Department of Army civilians.
In terms of places to be called to, you could be going to Mogadishu, but you ended up in Malibu. So you could do worse than Malibu.
You could absolutely do worse. So where we're taking you right now, I think you want to see this first. So we're doing about 4,000 tons of concrete a day that we're crushing. So this is what's getting pulled out. And I know that you would find this of interest. So the entirety of the road we have now, Temescal Canyon Road. And up here what you're going to see is the crushing of the concrete that's coming out of the debris lots, and you're going to see the baling of the metals that is going on. So these are two waste streams that get segregated, they get washed, and then they get essentially recycled, and they re-enter the construction supply stream.
Right. So you guys are taking whatever concrete is in the structure, and you're bringing it up here and you're pulverizing it?
Yes, crushing it, yeah.
And then that'll then get recycled to a concrete manufacturing place, and it'll get re-enter the system.
That's exactly right.
Interesting. So you guys essentially built a mobile concrete crushing facility.
Yes, that's all correct, except for most of it is flowing naturally north to south down this boulevard here,
right?
Because most of it's coming out of the Pacific Palisades,
right? Which
about
is
80% of your houses
straight ahead, a mile ahead.
That's correct.
The school's up here too.
Pali High will be up here on the left, and we've already cleared Pali High. You'll see the density of the destruction. This is advantageous for us, not only because it's essentially a chute. You're creating a chute right out of the impact area.
Right.
It's also segregated because you don't have cross streets. It's not next to the residential areas. Noise and dust control are much easier in the valley here.
Yeah.
So you kind of get a series of win-wins. We're essentially going reverse flow. So we called ahead, we're going reverse flow. You're seeing the end state. So you're going to see metals first, and then you're going to see concrete. And then you're going to see the scales where they scale in.
Wow. This is crazy.
And I definitely wanted you to see this because this is at scale. I mean, and then we're moving a lot of this material early morning hours and in the evening hours as well.
And is there a order in terms of, hey, get to our lot, hey, do my lot? Are we just moving in a direction?
It's essentially a giant optimization problem. So we utilize a lot of software to include AI to see how to do this in the most efficient manners. So it's not an appointment system. Essentially, we're going to group as many houses as we can. So as you can tell.
So is this the baler?
That's the baler.
Wow, so it's a mobile baler. So you just throw all the metal in there, crush it,
yep,
and then it bales it.
That's correct.
Like hay.
Yep.
And we see water heaters.
Yep.
And car parts, engine blocks, everything everything metallic that burned. Back there was I-beams, so bigger.
Right.
You wouldn't bale the I-beams.
Well, they're going to, well, the I-beams will get cut up. And
Recycled, but not into the baler.
That's correct.
The baler's
the
smaller metallic items. And this is the concrete.
This is the end product of the crushing of the concrete. And they have a magnetic roller in there as well. So they separate the rebarb with the heavy equipment coming up on the right, but then the magnetic roller will pull out the remaining rebarb as well. So you can see some of the metals that are coming out in that pile.
Wow. All right, so the concrete comes in here. The rebar gets removed from the concrete. I know not how. How do you get the rebar? I mean, I know when you bust it up enough.
You can see them. I mean, they're quite good. Yeah. I mean, and then they have those fingers on the excavators that only allow the rebarb to retain. For the most part, you're going to get dust and pulverized concrete as well. But the heavy machinery is able to separate a good deal of it, if not the majority. And then the magnetic roller during the crushing process gets the rest. I've never seen any metal products make it out the end of it.
Wow. So even though the rebar is embedded in the middle of the concrete, they still can separate this rebar, which is mostly number 4, everybody. Remember, that's 1/2 inch, 1/8 inch per number. Number 6, 3/4. Number 8, 1 inch. Number 4, 1/2 inch. And number 4 is what they use for almost everything.
So these are the hopper trucks coming to pick up the clean concrete.
Wow.
They graciously waited for you to come through first.
Wow. That is, wow. And then the high school's up here on the left.
That's right.
And these guys, oh my goodness, what scale this is on.
That's what the high school looked like when we got it. And that's how it ended up.
Wow.
That's the northern end of the high school that was destroyed.
Wow. All right, so this is Palisades High School.
Yes.
Which is sort of on the edge of the Palisades, or as the Palisades start sort of becoming Malibu. And it got hit, but it didn't get destroyed. 30% of it?
Yeah, about 30% of it. I mean, I think the historical part of the high school that most people will recognize is intact. It was the northern portion and the southern portion, and then some facilities around the football field that burned.
Where were all these fires when I was in high school? They got fires, they got COVID. It's awesome now. You don't even have to go to school anymore. Not for me. No snow days, no COVID days, no fire days. Just, where's Carolla? And we're coming up on Temescal, which is one of the main arteries that goes down to PCH and Malibu. Turn right, you're heading to Malibu. Turn left, you're heading to Santa Monica. Yep. And this is where everything is staging.
That's right. The trucks are going to come in first, and they're going to get scaled out. So we're going to ticket them out. We're going to know exactly how much concrete and metal came off individual parcels, individual properties.
Oh, so you're going to weigh every truck, and in each truck it has a parcel assigned to that.
Yes.
Now, why do you need to keep track of what came off of each parcel?
So at the end of this, every parcel, we're going to have a report. Most of it's pictures, but it's about 80 pages long, and we're going to know exactly how much weight and what type of material came off every parcel. It's part of the agreement that we have with FEMA, because we're operating under the authority and the appropriations of FEMA. So we do the work. We're essentially the execution agent by FEMA.
So there's no cross-pollination of what's in these trucks. A truck might do multi-trips to the same parcel, or there may be multiple trucks to each parcel, but they're not going to mix and match.
That's correct.
It's just one parcel.
That's
and
correct.
We'll weigh it all, and then we'll start the process of separating and baling and stripping and pulverizing.
That's right.
And this is where it happens.
Yeah, it's right in here. And that's an example of, matter of fact, that property right there, right behind this truck, we cleared that about 3 weeks ago. They already have private contractors on there because there's portions of the property that we can't take. That had 3 tiers. It had 3 retaining walls facing you on this side. And anything that's holding soil, we don't take because it can encroach upon another property, because we don't know when the property owner is going to be able to rebuild or have their contractors on the site. So anything holding soil, we're largely going to leave. In many cases, basements, retaining walls. So we left that. They have now taken out the retaining walls, and that crew is now going to put in new retaining walls because they have an active construction site going on. So they're starting a portion of their rebuild right now.
So they got a permit to clear the property, and they got rid of it, and then but they're going to need another permit in engineering for the retaining wall, which they're doing now. So essentially, they're starting the building process on this property,
Yeah.
or I don't know what the retaining wall falls under, but in my world, that's the beginning of building
Yeah.
a new
Sure.
property.
And this is an example of, we actually did the debris removal on that site. Now they are doing supplemental work after we have gone through.
Because they're still busting up the old retaining wall and removing it.
That's right.
Is it fatigued from the fire? Like, why would you need to replace a retaining wall if it was retaining?
So in most cases, a foundation is likely compromised during a fire. Now, concrete work outside of that fire area, it really kind of depends. And so many of these private owners will bring in a structural engineer, and they'll take a look at it, and they will make a recommendation on keep or not take. So in this case, maybe it was compromised.
They'll do a core, they'll
Yeah.
core a sample of it, bring it back to a lab, crush it,
Yeah.
whatever.
Exactly.
All right, so that's interesting. They're building up there. And so these guys go on the scale,
Yep. Just concrete and metals.
just concrete metals.
The other piece to this is concrete and metals. There's a lot of the volume of debris is what we call fire ash debris. So that's everything else outside of green waste, essentially chipped trees, outside of concretes, outside of metals. Any asbestos is treated separately. There's an abatement process, but anything that's left over is fire ash debris. That goes into one truck, and that truck, from point of collection, goes immediately to point of disposal, to the landfill, if you will. So they don't come here.
Right, right. This is only materials that can be recycled,
Correct.
essentially.
Yep.
So we're at the top of Temescal now, which goes down a mile or so down to PCH, and this is the scale.
Yep.
These guys are all here. Now, do the lady truck drivers not want to get on the scale as much as the fellas, or is that an issue?
I don't think it's an issue.
Okay, because you know what, let's just move forward here. So these things are weighing in at, what's the max, like 21,000 pounds or something like that?
Yeah, that's about right. In and around there, yeah.
I heard it through the grapevine. So then everything's mobile too, which is kind of crazy, right?
Yeah.
So this is just a city street.
That's right.
And we got scales set up, and then they either go into this is the concrete department here.
They're going to pick up clean. They're empty. They're going
they're empty.
They're going to pick up the clean concrete. Essentially, your dump trucks are bringing in uncrushed concrete. Those trucks are going to take crushed concrete.
Do you know what percentage you guys are at in terms of like concrete recycling? Like, it feels like you're going to be near 100%, right?
Oh, I mean, it's going to be close. I mean, there's certainly going to be there's going to be pieces of concrete that make it into fire ash debris that we're unable to clean and then bring into the recycling system.
Right.
But you're looking at in excess of 90% of the concrete collected is going to find itself here.
And recycling rebar, I can't get my mind around it. So you come out here, they put you up at a hotel, or they give you a voucher or something? Like, how does it work?
No, I have a tent on the beach. No, that's a joke. I am in a hotel in Santa Monica, yes.
That's gotta be not too...
It's not terrible. It's not terrible.
Too shabby. And do they give you like a per diem for meals and all that kind of stuff? Or do you guys eat, at scheduled times together?
There's a per diem. Yep, there's a per diem. So you can choose to utilize that per diem however you like.
How's the per diem work? Because Santa Monica is not Mississippi in terms of eating out, parking, rent. It's quite elevated, right?
Yeah, well, I think you get good at finding the Subways and the Jimmy John's and some of the other locations, but we're able to make it work. And then you can obviously, even in a hotel, you buy some groceries and
cook it up.
Make some food in your own room. When you look at PCH, obviously a pretty difficult situation. We're looking to phase that out over 5 phases. But the same time that we're doing debris removal, as you're going to see on PCH, is the same time that utilities are being worked on PCH. It's the same time that all the dirt or mud or sedimentation on the road is being removed. And so there's a confined amount of space on PCH to do all this work and move 750 trucks a day right now. That's going to soon be 1,200 trucks in a day in about 3 weeks.
And you think you're going to be done with your parcels, not the people that opted out. Out of your parcels, you'll be done in the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, that's correct. And then we're going to move to the next phase, which is going to be Las Tunas Beach, which we already have on it. So it's a give and a take, because it's not only the logistics of sharing the road space with utilities and the dirt removal, it's also, we got to make sure that we have the rights of entry from all those folks that opt in. So that all the legal work needs to get done correctly, and that can be painstaking.
Once everything is cleared, are you guys out of here?
So the Corps of Engineers mission is exclusively debris removal on behalf of FEMA. Essentially, when the California governor asked for assistance from President Biden at the time, granted the assistance came in the form of debris removal. So our mission is solely debris removal.
And so when it's all gone, that's when you guys will pack it up.
That's correct.
And get out of here. The trees are all burnt here. Everything's gone on this ridge. Modern homes, stucco, metal roof, just glass and stucco, non-combustible stuff gone. And then we have this wooden structure right in the middle of all of it. Looks completely unscathed. Any explanation?
No, I can't give you any help on the physics of the fire.
The Lord works in mysterious ways. All right. I think I discovered my new favorite job, like my fantasy job. Hose guy. Just the guy stands 20 feet away and just sprays that beautiful rainbow of H2O all over that pulverizing pile out there. Just, I'm sure.
We got listings open, so.
Well, my dad was one of the best hosmen in the business. First, his great-grandfather Giuseppe came here with nothing but a hose. They didn't have running water back then. I don't even know what he was thinking, but he was optimistic. You know, he was looking toward the future. And like I said, my dad was one of the great hosemen until that fire. And you know what? I don't want to. I'll get emotional if I start getting into it. Anyway, if you have opportunities for hosemen, I'm just like to throw my hat in the ring or my hose in the ring.
We'll get you an application.
Yeah. I don't know what the hose sprayer job pays, but I got a pretty big nut, so I need somewhere in the 3.2 to 3.7 range just to kind of, keep up with the Joneses.
Yeah, $32,000, $37,000 a year. That's what you're saying.
No, I'm sorry. It was $3.2 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
we that might be out of our
not for starters. There's probably a 3-week probationary hose period or something where I'm only making 2.5, maybe 2.7, something like that. But once you see what I can do with that hose,
you're gonna have to be on that hose for a long time.
Listen,
a long time.
I'm never putting that hose down, and I'll do all kinds of stuff. I do what I'd call a lasso move once, where I go clockwise, and I got a counterclockwise spray. I got one called the rooster tail that it's kind of proprietary, so I don't want people ripping me off with that. But I got a few different moves. Every once in a while, I'll get a suck off it. You know what I mean? Just, wet my whistle. Good looking lady goes by, I go straight up. I call it the fountain. All right, it's enough hose talk. More destruction.